most active, dynamic summer that Habitat for Humanity has ever organized. We'll have the work project here the week beginning June 27. The week prior to that, June the 20th, we'll have the project in Philadelphia. On the same day that we start building here in Atlanta, hundreds of people will begin to walk from Portland, Maine, headed toward Atlanta. We will walk for 12 weeks, 1,201 here, traveling along with the walkers, and we will be building in almost 100 cities as we come down the East Seacoast, ending up here in Atlanta on the weekend of September 15, 16, and 17 for the 12th anniversary celebration of Habitat for Humanity. We'll have over 5,000 people here at the Civic Center, Philadelphia, what we've done along the East Seacoast and all over the world. Simultaneously with the building that's going on here in Atlanta during the week of June 27, Habitat projects now in a total of 277 cities in the United States. There are Habitat projects in 277 cities in the U.S., 3 towns in Canada, 59 places in 25 other countries, and we've just approved the beginning of Habitat in Australia. But in all of these places, houses will be built. We'll build about 600 houses this summer, but we hope to build about 250 of them just during the week that we're building these 20 houses here in Atlanta. So it's an exciting grassroots movement that has spread all around the world. But as the old saying goes, you ain't seen nothing yet. We are just getting warmed up, but we are trying to make shelter a matter of conscience, and as we stick together and dedicate ourselves to this goal and to this aim and this purpose, we can overcome. We can get the people out of the streets. We can get people out of poverty housing, and I call upon all of you here in the city of Atlanta to get behind this project. Get behind Lige Moore. Get behind Bruce Gunter. Get behind Rosalynn and Jimmy Carter. Get behind all of us who are trying to eliminate poverty housing, and let's make it happen. Thank you.
We have another strong Habitat supporter with us here today, and that is Mayor Young. Mayor Young has been on the International Board of Habitat for Humanity in years past. And more importantly, I think, he watched his daughter Paula go to Gulu, Uganda to work on a Habitat project. And Paula also served on the board of the Atlanta Habitat for Humanity. So we couldn't do this without the cooperation of the city. Obviously in 5 days, some people don't wake up in 5 days. We need everything to happen real quickly. And with their cooperation from a number of the departments, we're going to have this thing knocked out. And I'd like to bring on Mayor Young at this time.
Thanks very much. This is really an exciting opportunity for our city, because Habitat is going to do something that I think federal, state, and local governments should have done and should be doing. And we have not. And in some sense, this is a judgment of Habitat, judgment of God on our lack of performance. We have not been able to build sufficient housing in the city of Atlanta. Not low-income housing, not even upper and middle-income housing. And I think what Habitat is doing here is showing us that it is possible. There's no reason why, if Habitat can put together 20 houses in a week, that every local church in the city of Atlanta could not sponsor 1 or 2 houses in their own neighborhood for the homeless. There's no reason why any successful business in the city of Atlanta couldn't be responsible for building and housing 4, 6, 10 families in the proximity of their business. There's no reason why we as a city government, even with our limited resources, should not be able to put together a low-income housing program to house hundreds of people who need housing. And yet we have not done it. Habitat is showing us the way. And I hope that all of us will take this message seriously. The city is providing access to the land. We've organized our housing inspectors so that they will be here on the job early in the morning before work starts and late at night at the end of work, so that all of the routine city inspections will be accomplished on this rapid schedule that Jimmy and Rosalind Carter and Habitat for Humanity are putting us on in our city. We hope that this is just a foretaste of things to come, and that the notion of a house for every citizen in these United States is something that we can take seriously. There's one other thing that we'd have a hard time doing, but that Habitat has been able to do, and that this makes the Habitat project significantly different than most housing programs that we've talked about. Millard calls it love in the mortar joints. And I think when a family comes together, working with other families to help build a home, and when they receive their Bible as a kind of testimony of faith and love, when they move into a house at no interest and no profit, in a sense, it becomes not just an act of construction, it becomes an act of religious commitment. And I think it's building into the quality of the family religious life that will go on in these homes, something that I think is needed in every home in our city. So I not only want us to get the construction message, I want us to get the religious message, the quality of life message, the message that says we are only human, we're only civilized, as we do something for others, indeed, for the least of these God's children in our midst. So I would like to thank President and Mrs. Carter for continuing their ministry, and for Millard Fuller and the entire Habitat for Humanity family for being with us and making this a very exciting week in our city.
Thank you, Mayor Young. We're going to have about 10 minutes of questions and answers, but before we do that, I'd like to introduce the people that are going to make it happen, and that's the staff folks at Habitat. Lige Moore, maybe if you would stand or raise your hand, because they're the ones that have the answers. Lige Moore is president of Habitat for Humanity. Jeff Petrillo is the administrator.
Good morning. What about the homeless in the city? When the convention comes, we're not going to be able to fit into these houses. You may not be able to participate in the construction. It's on 300, we're told, in the viaduct, right where CNN is, where the convention will be. What would you do with those people?
The homeless in our city will be cared for as humanely as we possibly can. We will have continued shelter space. Most of the work for the homeless is done by churches. That work will continue.
In terms of the family selections, right now we have 10 of the families have been.
We will, it's any way that we can restore that $250,000, that we might put some people in this land that we have developed. Thank you.
Let me say that not only are we trying to do that, we are also trying in the present bond issue to complete about 7 projects in this neighborhood that will be funded by the bond issue. But the specific $250,000 you're talking about, I don't know about. I'll have to check on that. But whatever we can do, I think we will take this as an opportunity to focus on this community and make those necessary improvements that are needed to continue the quality of life that you are enjoying in this neighborhood. These will be owner-occupied homes, and these will be homeowners in this neighborhood, and we will want to do everything we can to support the quality of life in this neighborhood. We also have 30 additional houses across the street that will be done by Bovis Bruning with a UDAG grant. And so that this is just part of the activity going on in this neighborhood.
Well, she and I share sort of a second hotel.
Is this one of the 20, or will there be 20 additional houses?
I guess there'll be 20 additional.
Does that mean that you were?
Okay. I should have.
Behind you got a plane. Soon, I hope. I need to get on there. Yeah, he's at home now. He's got a couple of doctors that are doing work with some very advanced experimental techniques. One in Bethesda and South. They're looking at all of his records and examining X-rays.
He's still feeling as good as he was months
He feels good. He feels good. In fact, he works 2 days a week with his modular home company, and then he and Sybil spend about 2 days a week working with Alcoholics Anonymous, opening alcoholic clinics.
He shows surprise when he's down playing for about a month ago. He go walking down the road. Maybe
He rides a bike, and walks a lot. He's just getting good. I will. Take care. See you later.
Jackson's doing all the CPR work.
All right.
Thank you.
She's gonna live in this house.
How you like your house?
President Carter, good to see you. I look forward to it too. Well, they needed some people who would, work on higher foundations. So, we're looking
I'm so glad you could get off work.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's wonderful to come out there.
Hey, Neil.
Millard, it's a terrific pleasure to see you, sir. Meet some friends from Ireland. Billy Reynolds and Mrs. Reynolds. They're from Ireland.
Nice to see you. This is the lady who's gonna live in this house.
I met her the other day.
He was working midweek. He helped put on your roof. Okay, I see you one day. It's nice to meet you.
Into our projects and into our city trying to buy drugs. They're going to find police waiting for them when they come out.
So much of it is being done by young people. Buyers and sellers.
Exactly. No, not buyers. Young people don't have that much money. Young people are being used to sell drugs. Because under juvenile authorities, they can't be put in prison. And so they're released almost as soon as they're picked up. But now the people buying drugs are not basically children. They are not underage. And they're people who can be prosecuted if they're caught with those drugs.
Are these people from outside?
Steady stream of cars come in there with Gwinnett, Cobb, other license plate. And we just have to let them know that they're not welcome.
Let me ask you a question about
For that purpose.
the Atlanta Housing Authority. I realize your influence over them is your appointments to the board, but how much pressure can you put on them to renovate the existing housing that they claim they can't fix?
Well, I think the problem is that you have to realize that the federal government has cut low-income housing subsidies way back, from about $25 billion back to about $6 billion. And the housing problems that the Housing Authority has to deal with, they're basically dealing with little or no money. Also, there's about a 30% turnover in housing. So whenever somebody leaves, they usually leave the housing project, the housing apartment, in such condition that you can't put somebody right back in it. It has to be cleaned, it has to be renovated, it has to be put in first-rate condition. That's going to always take time, and as long as you have about a 30% turnover, you're always going to have some vacancies in housing.
I'm told there's more housing existing than there are people on the list who need a house.
Oh no, that's not true. There are well over 5,000 people on the list, And the last I heard, there were fewer than 1,000 units that were in process of being reconstructed.
For those who suggest that this police crackdown is a lot of media splash and will, like so many others, go away very quickly, what do you say to that?
I say the only thing you can do is wait and see. And if it is just media splash, I hope you give us all the hell you can muster for it.
We can muster stuff. Yeah. Sure. How about getting ready for the convention? What else are you going to do to make the city look good? In addition to moving?
I think the city looks good. We don't need to do a whole lot to this city. And we had 80,000 people here a month ago. We had 25,000 cardiologists here last week. We have big conventions here all the time. The biggest problem we're going to have is 15,000 journalists. But since we don't know who the president's liable to be, they will be kept busy trying to figure out what's going on inside the Democratic convention.
Is there a budget for the city on how much it's going to put into sprucing up in the last couple of months before they get here?
Well, we have been doing that. These are ongoing things. There is a budget, but no additional monies.
A couple of 100,000?
No, we've got more than that. We're putting more than that into International Boulevard. I don't know exactly what that budget is. Can I make an announcement since all of you all are sticking this? We have a housing fair, a home buyers fair, Saturday, April 23rd from 10 to 5 at the Georgia World Congress Center. This is a one-stop house shopping event, and it's being held to promote the use of $43 million in mortgage money, which is available at the low interest rate of 9 1/8%. This is a fixed mortgage for 30 years. If you compare that with a 12% mortgage, which mostly you have to get, it saves you about $75 a month on a $50,000 house and somewhere in the neighborhood of $26,000 over the life of the mortgage.
Who's eligible?
First-time home buyers are eligible, or if you're living in the target areas, almost anybody is eligible. That's with a maximum household income of $41,945.
What are the target areas?
Oh,
The fourth winner is from Fulton High School, Christopher Weems.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank God for putting those words into my mind and then onto the paper. And then I would like to thank the Ecuador, the mayor, and everyone involved for putting this money in my hands.
How about that? All right. And our first winner, does she want to say something? Because we gave her the chance, but I think, would you like to come on and say something? You're the only one we didn't really get a chance. Let's get her back up here. Come on up, Susan. There you go. Come on.
First of all, I'd like to thank God, and then my parents, and my English teacher, Mrs. Key, for standing on me to do this essay. I really appreciate it. Thank you, and thank you also.
Oh, thank you.